Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So in this video, I want to talk about the mindset needed in order to make more money. And I know a lot of you are having issues with money because I ran a YouTube poll recently, and I said, "What's your number one issue?" Majority of you said money. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you that if you focus on the money, you're not going to get money, right? It's kind of similar to the Tony Robbins quote where he's like, "Hey, if you want to get the results, don't focus on the results. Focus on the process." And that's the same thing with money, right? If we want the money, we have to focus on the thing that's going to help us make money, not the money itself. And I would say maybe 50 to 70% of what helps you make money is actually your mindset and how you deal with other people. A lot of people these days think that there's somehow an easy way to make money without investing in human relationships and capital. You remember the saying where it's like, hey, like it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, right? That's definitely true in many aspects of life, yet so many people try to treat money making activities as it's about what you know. And there is a component of yes, that's true, but what's even more important, it's about, who you know and the relationships that you've developed. That's how you make the money. And in order for you to make more money, you have to develop a human-centric mindset, right? Because at the end of the day, there's always a person at the end of the transaction, an actual human being who's going to decide that they're going to swipe their credit card or not to pay you, right? And I'm just going to give you an easy example of this. So this is my first rental check a few years ago, and I've always gotten response like this any type of client work that I've done, right? So in this case, it would be a renter, and the renter paid me 14 grand. 14 grand literally didn't even look at the house, and she's like, "I'll give you a year's worth of rent." And then just my poor negotiation skills eventually ended up so that the renter only paid me like 6 months. But I only say only 6 months, but that's actually a bad word to use. But once I got that check, 2 hours later, I got a text message from the tenant. "Thank you so much for everything. We appreciate you." Now, let me ask you this. How many landlords do you think that are out there who can actually get this type of response and get, the rent, this much rent up front? Probably is, I'm sure there's some out there, but it's not a common thing. In fact, people hating landlords is probably more common than, let's say, being appreciative of their landlord, because a lot of people in society view landlords as leeches. But here's the thing: why did I get this type of message? Is because I'm investing in human relationships and capital, and every single thing that interaction that I've had with my tenant is basically in the form of a mindset of, hey, I'm actually going to take care of you. Hey, if anything goes wrong, you're living in my house, and I want to make sure that you're taken care of. Oh, wow, like the roof is leaking? Yeah, I totally get you. I'm going to replace it because that thing's like 20 something or 30 years old, and my bad for not fixing it before, or no, not replacing it because I'm a bad negotiator before I bought the house, right? Like, little things like that where I know I'm going to take care of you um, as long as you do your part of the deal, which is to pay me, right? Like paying people is the ultimate skin in the game, and it's so crazy how so many people don't want to do that. They don't want to do that with like their vendors. They don't want to do that with their, so-called employees. Like, whenever I deal with like a vendor or a contractor, like, and I get the bill, I pay them immediately, right? I'm like, dude, you're getting paid immediately. You know why? Because like the way you pay people has like a certain focus and energy that when they like send you the bill and they get paid like 2 seconds afterwards, which I've shown in screenshots before, like they get really excited because I want to invest my money into human capital, right? Like, whoa, like I want to make sure that I know that I appreciate you for doing the work because I'm too lazy to do it myself, right? And so many people think backwards in this. Like they want to quote save money and not try to pay other people and then wonder why their business or finances are in disarray. Okay? Like when you get money from other people, you have to take care of them. And then when other people do work for you, you have to pay them as quickly as possible. That's really, in my opinion, like, I'm not saying you have to follow this, is the easiest way to make money. And this is why over and over again I've been able to do this. I just use this one example because it's a much more relatable example than other things that I've done. But in the end, my mindset was like, hey, I'm gonna make sure that when you're in my sphere of expertise and you pay me, and this is the most important thing, you pay me, um, I'm gonna make sure you're taken care of. Now, why do we only do like work for people who pay? Because people who don't pay, I'm gonna tell you this, don't have any skin in the game. And this is true. Let's say, like, if you own a business, or quote own a business, and you're trying to get employees to work for you, if you don't pay them, guess what? Like, they're not gonna like do a good job, and people get so surprised by this. And so let me just kind of give you an easy example of people not wanting to put in the effort to quote develop human capital. So I'll just pull up this article right here. This CEO fired 90% of his staff for missing a morning meeting. He stands by his choice. Now, if you look at the article, a headline, it's kind of like, whoa, 90%. Does that mean like the workers nowadays suck? I mean, in my experience, okay, people do suck nowadays, but that's not the point. So always try to go beyond the headlines and see why the CEO fired 90% of his staff, right? Like, what can we learn from this? Okay. So if we scroll down, um, Badvin Odson, CEO of Wyoming-based musical instrument online storefront, the Musicians Club, fired 90% of his staff, 99 out of 110 employees and freelancers, via Slack message for missing just one meeting at 8:30 a.m. and November 15. And then it says one former employee detailed the shocking event in a now deleted post on Reddit's mildly infuriating forum. I just joined an internship, and an hour later, the entire team got fired, the original user wrote. Get the F out. For those of you who did not show up in the meeting this morning, consider this notice. You're all fired. You failed to do what you agreed to do. You failed to complete your part of the contract, and you failed to show up at the meetings you were supposed to attend and work for. And then Odson then instructed the group, who all work remotely, to sign out from the accounts, returning company property, and considering contracts terminated. Gave you an opportunity to make your life better, work hard, and to grow, yet you have shown me you don't take this seriously. He went on. Out of 110 people, only 11 were present this morning. Those 11 get to stay. The rest of you are terminated. Get the F out of my business right now. Now here's the kicker, right? Like after this point, you're like, whoa, like, workers aren't serious, right? And then if you read this part, it's like, oh, like, you didn't really invest in human capital, right? Like, you get what you pay for, right? So let me go ahead and copy this part, and we'll put in the British AI voice generator. So let's go ahead and do that, and then hold on, let me copy and paste. So let's generate the speech.
Many workers fired from the Musicians Club were unpaid remote part-timers. Jobs are marketed towards classical music students. Looking for work experience. A job listing from earlier this year for an unpaid operations manager role with the company received 51 applicants. The listing said the job would provide in-depth understanding of e-commerce operations within a competitive market, practical experience in managing and optimizing online sales platforms, and a high potential for full-time paid conversion in 2025. You get what you pay for.
Right. So basically, he tried to get free labor, invest nothing, and it's just the mindset that a lot of people have nowadays, where you're just trying to get something for nothing. And if you don't pay people, here's the thing, you don't have any skin in the game, right? You don't have any skin in the game. So that's why it's very important that whatever role you're in, you have to think about taking care of other people. Like, if you're a student, think about, like, what's the best way I can learn from my teacher, and if you're a teacher, what's the best way that you can teach your student? But a lot of people, they're just kind of like in this one-sided relationship mode, and yet ironically are frustrated that they don't achieve their goals, right? And I know we talk about mostly business a lot, but in my mindset, so here's my mindset, is that I'm not really focused on the money, right? I'm focused on building relationships and human capital, whether it's a tenant, right? If I have a tenant and that tenant pays me, I'm going to take care of my tenant. There's no excuse, right? they're in your care and in your hands. And a lot of landlords out there are just like, whatever, I like deserve the rent, and then wonder why like they're getting, they got to evict a tenant or in court, right? So again, you got to do the opposite of what most people do. Like if you're a quote CEO, and to me this is not even a company, it's ridiculous. Like trying to get people to work for free. It's like one of those art contests. Like you ever see like how people try to get free art for their event? It's like, well, this is an unpaid art contest, and the winner will get exposure. It's like what, right? So it's just kind of, I can't believe people still pull this nonsense off, which is kind of sad. Um, and if you look here, it relies on remote interns willing to work for free, and workers who are essentially voluntary and likely don't hold themselves to the same standards as those with salary and benefits. And it's like, put some skin in the game and develop human capital. And so many people refuse to do that and wonder why they're not getting big checks, because you're not developing human capital and relationships. Way more important than what right? And we got to stop trying to get quote free labor out of people and actually try to help them and take care of them. So again, if you're an employer, you make sure that your employees are taken care of, and if you're an employee, right, you make sure you show up and do a good job because you are getting paid. It's the same thing. There's a what you call a I forgot the word, but relationship where everybody cares of each other, right? Mutually beneficial relationship, not mad, mutually assured destruction. Not that one. But anyways, so back to my point is that we always have to be taking care of the people around us, and that's how we essentially become rich, right? I always talk about like this is what's lacking in the mindset of other people, is that they don't understand when someone gives you money, there's an actual other person at the other end of the transaction. And then when that person feels like they've been taken care of, they're going to give you more money, right? They're going to give you more money. Now, sometimes we don't have customers for life, and that's totally understandable. But we always have to have the mindset that we're going to take care of other people. We need to take care of other people, right? Invest in human capital, relationships, because this is what in my ideal state, I'd like to invest in people so that they can do work for me like 20, 30 years, and I could just sit on my butt and do nothing, right? That's like the ultimate flex as a business owner, where you just kind of invest in people. They work for you for a good lifetime, and you just do nothing and make the money. A lot of people just do it backwards, where it's like, hey, I don't want to invest in anybody, and I'm trying to get as much as possible and give nothing in return, and I have no skin in the game, right? You need skin in the game. A lot of people, like, just for whatever reason, they don't want to put any skin in the game anymore. And that was like a comment that someone wrote like was like a week ago. I don't know, but it's kind of sad how people are like that. But the reason that I'm going to make money is because I'm just going to put some skin in the game. I got a new tenant, then I'm going to make sure the tenant's taken care of. Doesn't matter who the tenant is. They're in my care and sphere of influence, right? So all right. So hopefully that makes sense, but just don't do what this guy does, which is, be a quote CEO and then try to get free labor, and then wonder why nobody shows up, right? Like, kind of sad that this is where we are today as a society, and it's probably been like that for like 30 plus years, right? Nobody wants to put any investment in relationships anymore. Okay, well, that's it for today. This is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. Have a great day. We'll speak next time.